But I am very pleased to join you and have our committees meet together for the first time since the 2002 HPSI-SSCI joint inquiry into the attacks of September 11th. I also congratulate you on House passage of the FY12 Intelligence Authorization Bill, and thank you for the cooperation that has enabled us to pre-conference the legislation. I look forward to Senate action and enactment of the third straight intelligence bill after a 6-year hiatus. I'd also like to welcome our witnesses, Director Clapper and Director Petraeus. I thank you for being here. I believe important and substantial progress has been made in United States intelligence collection and analysis in the past 10 years. We are often asked the question, are we safer today? The answer, I believe, is an unqualified yes. This is not to say that terrorist attacks can always be stopped, but it is to say that the intelligence world has learned and adapted to the challenge. Stovepipes are down, intelligence is shared and streamlined in ways that it never was before 9/11. Last week, the intelligence community learned of a new threat to the homeland around the 10th anniversary of 9/11. That information was shared throughout the intelligence community, with the Congress, with the FBI, and the Department of Homeland Security to take protective measures, and with state and local governments, all within about 1 day. Excuse me, that is real progress. Both SIGINT and HUMINT have improved. I can't detail the efforts here, but intractable problems have been overcome to produce key information to policymakers. We have had some real counterterrorism successes. Witness the takedown of bin Laden and the high number of al-Qaeda leaders killed or captured recently. In fact, more than 1/2 of al-Qaeda's top leadership has been eliminated, according to a speech in June by John Brennan, Assistant to the President for Homeland Security and Counterterrorism. Consider the following top AQI leaders killed or captured since last summer: Osama bin Laden, al-Qaeda's new number 2, Atiya Abdul Rahman, top AQ operative Yunus al-Mauritani, Ilyas Kashmiri, one of al-Qaeda's most dangerous commanders, reportedly killed. The number 3 al-Qaeda leader, Sheikh Saeed al-Masri, killed. Operatives of AQAP in Yemen, including Ammar al-Wa'ili and Ali Saleh Farhan, killed. Harun Fazl, the leader of AQ in East Africa and the mastermind of the 98 bombings of our embassies in Africa, killed by Somali security forces. All told, over the past 2.5 years, virtually every major al-Qaeda affiliate has lost a key leader or operational commander, and more key al-Qaeda leaders have been eliminated in rapid succession than any time since 9/11. Other post-9/11 reforms include a new counterterrorism focus at the FBI, where the number of Joint Terrorism Task Forces, we call them JTTFs, has grown from 35 to 104 around the country, and the number of JTTF personnel has increased from approximately 1,000 before 9/11 to nearly 4,500 today. The Department of Homeland Security was established after 9/11, and it has developed its own intelligence component. There are now 72 fusion centers around the country to serve as the focal points for the receipt, analysis, and sharing of threat-related information with state and local authorities. Here in the Congress, both House and Senate Intelligence Committees are working together and are now completing work on our third authorization bill in a row after a 6-year hiatus, during which no intelligence authorization bills were enacted. Vice Chairman Chambliss and I work closely together, as do our staffs. I trust him. He's straightforward. We discuss virtually everything, and I know the same goes for the HPSI, and that's the way I believe it should be. Unfortunately, As our intelligence community has made improvements, the terrorist threat has also changed. Instead of fighting one enemy, al-Qaeda has dispersed and its affiliates have emerged in Iraq, Yemen, Somalia, and North Africa. There is a metastasizing set of groups in Afghanistan and Pakistan intent on terror attacks and violence against the United States forces, including the Pakistani Taliban, the Haqqani Network, and Lashkar-e-Taiba. These groups have also adapted as we have improved. They have learned ways to evade surveillance, and they have developed ways to attack that are difficult to defend against. This includes small arms, commando-style raids like in Mumbai, and explosives using PETN that can be concealed within a body or in a package that are difficult to detect. We know terrorist groups are interested in attacks using weapons of mass destruction, which we cannot allow to happen. So we must continue to improve, to adapt, and to do so at the same speed as small, nimble terrorist cells. We welcome today the first public appearance of the new CIA Director, retired General David Petraeus, who is one of America's very best. I read his biography last night, and I didn't know anyone really could accomplish as much as he has. He's noted for this outstanding service, and most recently, his service in Afghanistan, Iraq, and at Central Command overseeing both wars. I would expect that Director Petraeus will, in the coming weeks, be reviewing the CIA's mission in collaboration with DNI Clapper. And it's very encouraging that the two of you are approaching this relationship as positively and productively as you are. I would hope that your review would include the following: continuing to increase human collection on hard targets and continue improvements that we have made to analysis, decreasing the number of contractors, continuing to improve language ability in those key areas, including Dari, Urdu, Pashto, Arabic, and Farsi, needed to understand what's going on in key parts of the world today. The immediate aftermath of the 9/11 attacks, the IC hired thousands of contractors as a matter of convenience and for their expertise. Contractors were tasked to conduct intelligence operations, collection, exploitation, and analysis, and all are critical tasks for the intelligence community and include, I would argue, inherently governmental functions that should be done by government employees at 2/3 less cost per employee. The Office of the DNI recently reported that for the fiscal year 2010, core contractors accounted for 23% of the total IC human capital workforce, down only 1% from the year before. The overall number of contractors is in the tens of thousands. The numbers across intelligence, defense, and homeland security is in the hundreds of thousands. We had an agreement in 2009 to reduce IC contractor numbers by 5% a year, but it's clear that progress has not been maintained and sufficient cuts are not being made. We have seen moderate progress in improving overall language capability in the past 2 years, but of the several thousand military and IC positions that require foreign language skill, only about a half of the IC's self-assessed requirements are being met by an individual with sufficient language proficiency. We must do better. Through both of our committee's oversight work, we review sensitive programs across the IC to make sure we understand what is going on, that operations are carefully carried out and are legal and effective. I'm pleased to say that in almost all cases we are fully satisfied. Of note, for the past 2 years, the Intelligence Committee has conducted extensive oversight of certain critical aspects of the country's counterterrorism efforts, especially along the Afghanistan-Pakistan border. These efforts are notable for their precision, their effectiveness, and the care taken to ensure that non-combatant casualties are kept to an absolute minimum. In sum, there are a number of areas where we have made progress since 9/11 to make the nation safer, but there are also issues that we need to continue to work on, and hopefully we can do that cooperatively with the intelligence community and the entire executive branch. So, gentlemen, Director Clapper, Director Petraeus, my own view is a great deal of substantial positive progress has been made, and I thank you and all who work for your communities for that. I look forward to your testimony, and now let me turn to Ranking Member Rupesberger for his comments.